I'm McInnes, sports podiatrist and owner-director of Freedom Sports Medicine. As you can see, there's a whole range of different shoes here. So we've got some casual ones, we've got some racing flats, we've got some runners, and there's heaps of different brands out there as well. So what do you need to know to choose the right shoe for you? Today I'm going to go through some of the features that we want in the shoe, and then just a little bit about the different support structures that some of the different brands have. So if we're looking at features of a shoe, the major things that we want to have in a shoe, we'll use this one as an example, is a nice strong heel counter. So easiest way to test that is to squash that from the back, and you shouldn't be able to squash that too easily. Number two, we want it to bend at the ball of the foot, pretty much where our toes bend. That helps us push off nice and effectively. So if we can do that and it bends there, it's pretty good. Number three, we want it nice and stable through the middle. And you're going to have a whole range of different widths through here. So this one's got a moderately curved last. It's not perfectly straight through there. And some of the more chunky shoes out there will be quite wide and filled in through this section, a little bit more stable in some ways. But essentially, if we get that and we try and twist that, we want it ideally to be nice and stable. One thing to note here, I'm not talking about minimalist shoes. They're a totally different story, which we might touch on another time. Probably the last major thing that I'd like to see in a shoe is that it has some sort of fixation. So what I mean by fixation is something that can help the shoe hold onto your foot, so your foot can do what it needs to do and be relaxed within the shoe and not grip. What are the major fixation things? So either a laces, a buckle, a strap, or a Velcro. They're probably the major ones. Let's talk a little bit about the support structures in a shoe. So if we use this ASICS one for example, this is moderate support shoe. So for someone who rolls in or overpronates to a moderate degree. And if we look at this outside here, the foam all the way around here, it's the same. And if we squash that there and we squash that there, it's going to be the same density of foam. However, if we flip this shoe over, I might just get you to zoom in here a little bit, Penny. We can see if I squash this here, it's going to be the same density as what it was on the outside. But then we move up to this section and we've got in the ASICS, and it's different in each brand. We've got this dynamic Dual Max. Now, if we squash that foam, it's a little bit firmer to squash. And the idea there is that as we strike, we begin to roll, or we try and roll too far, this foam doesn't squash, we come up, and it holds our foot in its ideal position to help us push off. Most brands have that, what we call the dual density posting system. Apart from Mizuno, they use a wave plate system. So this plate, it's a corrugated plate, and this Wave Rider here is a neutral shoe, but it's actually a pretty stable neutral shoe. So we can see here that we've got one wave system through this shoe. Now in some of the other ones, you'll see that it has 2, 3, maybe even up to 4 waves. And if you think about a corrugated iron sheet, it's actually quite stiff because of the number of corrugations we get into it. Essentially, the more of those waves that are in this shoe, the stiffer it becomes and the more supportive it becomes. And it basically works like what those dual density posts in other brands work like. Now, if we come back to those dual density posts, we'll find some shoes, like this New Balance one here, it's got a really big area of that yellow stuff. Whereas this one, is Brooks one, it only has a small area, and the position of those changes as well. So the further back that comes, the more control we're going to have for someone who's got a bigger angle between the heel and their leg. And this is something that when choosing a shoe, it's a really good idea to seek advice from your health professional about what support is going to be the best support for you, or visit a specialty running store where they can actually do a video gait analysis, get you in different shoes and work out what's controlling you best. Because one of the things I often see is that two people will come in, they function fairly similarly, bare feet, but you put them in a shoe, it's totally different. And it might be that they're even in the same shoe and it looks totally different. So there's a few little tips for you on choosing the right shoe. Hopefully it helps and you can get out there running comfortably.